Hey, what's up there? This is Cody, and welcome to my channel. I'm here to provide you some fantastic information regarding Bitcoin and crypto as a whole, as well as give you some fantastic chart TA and explain what's going on in the current market. And we have an absolutely fantastic episode planned for today. Before we get to that, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that like button, and be sure to follow me on X and Threads. So Bitcoin has been moving lately. We can see here in the last 7 days, it's up almost 2%. If we take a look at our charts, we can see that after Bitcoin went down here and touched this vital support level of about 25,000, the real question here was, is this support level going to give? And we saw a very brief break of that support level, and then it was immediately rejected, and Bitcoin powered even higher than that, including on 1 hour going up about 2.3%. And then we saw here, it came up here, it stopped at about the 200 hourly moving average here. And then after it broke through that level, it popped up, it got sold off here at about the resistance at about 26,400. And now it's using this 200 hourly moving average as current support. So what does that mean for the Bitcoin price? So we are not quite out of the woods yet right now. I cannot definitively say that there has been a trend reversal just yet, but so far we're kind of having at least the impression of something of a trend reversal. Now, we have to wait to see this confirmed. What I would like to see is for it to actually be able to push above the resistance level here at about 26,400. We're waiting for it to actually be able to push above this level, and then we want to see a strong breakout above this level and then a strong breakout above 27K. So if we had a strong breakout above 27K and then we had another green candle printed after that point, I think that would give us a strong sign of a reversal. But for now, we have to kind of treat this as a short-term temporary bounce. Okay, so watch this resistance level here. If we can actually break above it and then go to challenge 27K, we will potentially have a trend reversal. But I think in the meantime, we are likely to continue heading down, especially if it comes down to touch this 25K support level again. And just as a reminder, this 25K support is absolutely vital. I mean, if we go ahead and we take a look at the previous times in which it's touched, we have back here in June and then all the way back here in March. This is an incredibly vital level of support for Bitcoin. And if this support level is taken out, then we can most likely wind up seeing it go all the way down to about 24K, losing another $1,000 or so. But let's talk about the last couple of days. So the last couple of days, we've seen Bitcoin bounce a little bit. We can see here, if we take a look at our futures contracts, we can see here that we've had a significant number of short liquidations that propelled the price upwards here. However, what we're starting to see is a little bit of a sentiment change in the futures market. And the reason why I always like looking at the futures market is because it gives you a good idea of the trader's sentiment. And right now, if you take a look at our funding rates, we can see that funding rates are now negative. You can see that they're red right here. So shorts are starting to pile up. So shorts are looking at this TA and they're saying, okay, Bitcoin's got heavy resistance here at 26,400. So we're going to enter into positions, a majority short up here because it hasn't been able to break out above that resistance. So right now, we're seeing ourselves in a kind of position where if Bitcoin can get a little bit more steam under it and a little bit more upwards momentum, we could actually see these shorts get liquidated and the price could actually move higher up to that 27K region I was talking about before. But if we take a look at our open interest, we can see here that open interest has been kind of sideways for the past couple of days. That's the number of open contracts. It really seems like right now that the traders overall are very bearish and entering into new short positions, anticipating that Bitcoin is going to be heading lower. Now, if we take a look at our liquidations chart, we can see here in the last, call it 2 days or so, we're at about $76 million worth of short liquidations on total crypto and about $32 million on the next day. Again, total crypto liquidations. If we take a look at just Bitcoin, we can see that we've had a significant liquidation here, about 37 million in the last couple of days, and that pushed the price up here to about 26K. Now, what's interesting is if we take a look at the exchange reserve, we've seen a little bit of a trend reversal from the past couple of days. Now, previously I said that it looked like more coins are heading to the exchange. Now it's actually starting to go the opposite way, and coins are being pulled off of the exchange after reaching a high here of about 2,059,000. We can see it's all the way down to about 2,047,000. So we're starting to see buying pick up in the last couple of days. And that would be obvious if you take a look at and you overlay the price to this. You can see here that especially when Bitcoin went down to about 25K, there was a large amount of Bitcoin that was taken off the exchanges as buyers came in here and bought that dip. Now, I also want to go ahead and show you the miners reserve as well, because the miners reserve we've seen in the past month, the miners have mostly sold again from a high up here in August 23rd down to where we are now. We're seeing in the past 2 weeks where miners are actually increasing their position. So they're not selling. Miners were selling in August, in September. It seems like they're holding on to what they have, at least for the meantime, but this is something I'm going to monitor very closely and see if miners are more inclined to sell in the future. But for now, it looks like they're stacking sats. And speaking of stacking sats, I also want to go ahead and talk about the addresses with a balance of at least 1 Bitcoin. We can see here that we hit a new all-time high of about 1,018,000 addresses that have at least 1 Bitcoin. Again, very bullish. I like seeing this chart go up here. I like seeing a more equal distribution of all the Bitcoins in the network, because that way it shows more quality and more health, I think, for the overall blockchain. Now, some really interesting news came out of the past couple of days. And first, I want to go ahead and start with this huge $510,000 Bitcoin transaction fee. It seems that Paxos was at fault here, because Paxos is working together with PayPal. And it seems like we have had 1 Bitcoin transaction that somebody paid that's $510,000 fee. It seemed to be some kind of bug, and they're looking to basically get that money back, because paying $500,000 for 1 Bitcoin transaction is pretty ridiculous when you consider that you can get a Bitcoin transaction right now for about $1 or so, maybe a little bit more than that. And people were wondering who was it exactly that paid this. Some reporting pointed towards PayPal, but now we're having Paxos come out and say it was actually their bad, and they were the ones who had this issue. Now, this is the first time I've personally seen such a large Bitcoin transaction fee, but it's entirely possible that in the future we'll wind up seeing something like this. Next, I want to talk about something that's extremely important, especially when it comes to the current Bitcoin environment, and that is the fact that FTX is going to be selling $3.4 billion worth of Solana, Bitcoin, and other tokens. Okay, this was approved by a judge today, and the whole idea here is that they're going to be selling these FTX, the crypto on FTX, in order to get the users back their money. Okay, so we can see here, this is a breakdown of the holdings. Over $1 billion worth in Solana. We have over $560 million worth of Bitcoin and $200 million worth of Ethereum. Okay. So the plan for this right now is going to be that the FTX creditors are going to be selling up to $200 million in assets every single week. Okay, that seems to be the agreement that they've reached. All right, so every single week they're going to sell $200 million worth of assets, and they're required to give the Department of Justice 10 days notice before selling the assets. And they agreed to basically make these crypto sales private to prevent market impact on the prices. Okay, so this is something that we're going to be paying attention to very closely. The simple fact is that these creditors are getting back their money in many cases, but we could see a rash of selling both in Solana and Bitcoin and Ethereum as well over the next couple of months as they are selling these in order to get their money back. And so this will probably depress prices, at least for the near term, on these assets, okay? The last thing I want to talk about is what's going on tomorrow. So we talked about recently, we had Wednesday, the CPI came out, and the CPI basically came in a little bit hotter than expected, the overall CPI number. However, the core number came in a little bit lower than expected. I know I saw that it was expected in at about 4.4%. It came in at 4.3%. And so, it came in at 4.3% and it was expected at 4.3%. But that's a decrease compared to the 4.7% that we saw in the previous month. Okay, so core CPI came in a little bit lower. Or core CPI is showing that there's a downward trend. However, the regular CPI actually came in a little bit higher than normal, and we've seen a little bit of a mixture of good news and kind of bad news for the core CPI. But if we take a look at the Thursday release, we have the core PPI, the Producer Price Index. That's going to happen on that's going to happen tomorrow, Thursday at 8:30 a.m. And expect that this is going to wind up moving the market as well. Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you think about FTX having to sell $3.4 billion worth of coins and PayPal's insanely high transaction fee. And if you guys are actually planning on selling, or if you've bought in the past couple of days, I was planning on buying here. If I could have got another buy, I had a buy basically open and ready to buy under 25K. It didn't get executed. And right now, I'm waiting for another opportunity to buy below 25. All right? So that's all I've got for you guys today. Have a fantastic day.